Hey guys, welcome back. Well, I'm feeling a lot better this week, so I'm ready to get back to our Instagram stories work. For those of you who have been following along, you know that we've built sticker functionality not unlike what you would find in Instagram stories or Snapchat. So we've already supported the ability to move stickers around, scale them, rotate them, but now we need to allow a user to pick their own emoji. Now is a good time to take a look at Instagram and look closely at the details of how they allow users to add stickers. So you can tap this button here and that exposes a grid view. This looks like it's a UI collection view, which is like a table view but allows cells to go horizontally as well as vertically. We've got a blurred background here, so the background is transparent with a blur effect view in there. There's a search here. Search is going to be something very complicated to implement. We definitely will not be doing that in this episode. Let's focus on how you expose that sheet. Now you can expose it by tapping this button, and then you can tap up here to dismiss it. But you can also swipe up to expose it. Now notice that when I scroll down and I get to the top, I can then scroll again or swipe again to dismiss. There's a little more detail in here. It's not bringing this modal all the way up to the top. Personally, I don't see the point in that. You can't do anything up here without dismissing that, so I really don't see why they don't just bring it all the way up. When you tap this at this little thing at the top, that does bring it all the way to the top, and then it dismisses it. So again, I just don't see why we don't just bring this all the way up. So that's what we're gonna do for simplicity. When you tap on one of these stickers or emojis, it adds it to the screen, obviously. What we're looking at here is a button or a swipe to expose a UI collection view that has a transparent background with a blur effect view and a grid of emojis. This also has a swipe gesture to dismiss when the collection view is scrolled all the way to the top. Let's start in the storyboard. Since we're adding a sticker picker, we don't need these default stickers anymore, so go ahead and get rid of those. We will also need to remove the references in the code. So go into View Controller, and we can delete these stickers. Our new stickers are actually going to be text. They will be the Unicode emojis themselves. So those are represented by strings. So rather than an image view, we're gonna go ahead and make this a subclass of UI label. That way we can put any text in there, including emojis. Now let's go back into the storyboard and let's add our new view controller. This is for our sticker picker, if you will. So it will be a grid of emojis. We're also going to include a button that will allow us to close it. So let's add a button up here. And we'll make that take up the entire space by adding some constraints. Set this to 0, this one to 0 as well. Uncheck this mark and set the height to 45. And let's change that to, say, close. Let's also make the text white, which is gonna make it disappear right here, but when it's overlaying on top of an image or whatever, it's going to look better. Now let's add our collection view. Right-click and connect that to the button, the vertical spacing. Right-click again and add leading spacing. One more time, trailing spacing, and lastly, space for the bottom. And let's adjust these so they take up all of the space. So let's set them all to 0. This is our default collection view cell, and let's add a label to that cell. And let's make it an emoji. We can open the emoji keyboard anytime with Control-Command Space. Just put any emoji in there. Bump the font size up a bit because that's pretty small. Let's make it 32. And let's anchor it appropriately. Let's basically make it take up all the space of the cell and sit in the middle of the cell. That should work. And we'll also center align the label. So we need a new controller to essentially back this view controller that we have here on the right. So new file, Cocoa Touch class, make it a subclass UI view controller, and we will call it the sticker picker view controller. Now we also need a class for the cell itself. So let's go through that process again. This time it will be a UI collection view cell, and we'll call it emoji. Or let's call it sticker collection view cell. Now go back to the storyboard and we will assign that view controller to this class. And we will assign the cell to the cell. And we also need to give it a reuse identifier, which we will call sticker cell. I think we are about good to go. We have the collection view, we have the button. Oh, we also need a button here to open it. And we will go to Google's material icon set, and we'll grab this little friendly plus icon here, set that to iPhone or iOS, white, and then download it. Now find that file, open it up, and grab the 24 point button, or the 36 if you want. The 24 is a little bit bigger, smaller. Now let's add a button to the screen here, and let's add some constraints to that button. I think it should be 10 pixels from the top, 20 pixels from the right. Its width should be, let's say, 45, and its height should also be 45. That gives us a good tap space large enough for fingers to touch it. We'll remove button and we will add the image here. That does look comically small, so maybe we should ditch that after all, and let's use the larger one, the 36.1. Okay, that looks laughably big, but let's just move on. So now I'm going to open the view controller in the assistant editor. And let's right click on this and add a touch-up inside event for open sticker picker. It's a little more descriptive. Let's do a quick build here just to make sure everything is still functioning correctly. And it looks like we do have 3 build errors. So I'm going to click on this button here. Yes, we're still referencing these stickers. So that means this find sticker function needs to change. Since we're adding the stickers programmatically, we need to keep track of stickers in a different way. We can't do it this way. So I think what we need is a property up here for all stickers. And let's initialize that to be an empty array, which makes sense because when it loads, there aren't any stickers. As soon as the sticker is added, we'll add it to this all sticker. Now let's change find sticker down here, and that should work fine. Let's see if that takes care of the build errors. It does. Let's move on. In our sticker picker view controller, we have the collection view and the sticker cell, but this label is not wired up to the cell yet. So let's open the cell in the assistant editor and wire this label up to it. Emoji label? Sure, why not? Okay. Now, if we're to run this just to see what we have, you notice we put a white button in here, but it's blue. Highlight that button and change the tint to white. Okay, now when we click it, what happens? Nothing happens. So we have this empty function, open sticker picker, that doesn't open anything yet. We need it to open the sticker picker as a modal. So the way we do that, let vc self.storyboard.instantiate view controller and called sticker picker. Now we got to go into the storyboard and make sure we gave this view controller storyboard ID of sticker picker, which we did not, but we'll do that right now. And we need this to be a sticker picker view controller, so we'll cast it as such, and then we'll present it. Okay, so it's opening the modal, but it's not showing anything. So first things first, we need to get the grid of emojis working. To do that, we need to implement a number of methods here. First of all, this view controller needs to conform to the data source and delegate methods corresponding to the UI collection view controller. I've gone ahead and collected an array of emojis that we can use for this. And in order to load them, we actually need to get those into an array. So let's go up to the top and declare a property that can store our array of emojis. And let's load that emoji set. That should split this on every space, giving us an array of 1-character strings, each of which is an emoji. Now, number of items in section will be count of emojis. Now here we need to actually configure the cell. Now, whenever you're working with table views or collection views, you always want to dequeue a cell, which is done for memory purposes. We don't have a reference to the collection view yet. I forgot to do that. So open the storyboard in the assistant editor real quick. Let's grab that collection view, right click on it, drag a referencing outlet over here, and we will call it collection view. Assign the data source and the delegate to the view controller. You always have to do this with table views and collection views, and I just forgot. Here we will dequeue a reusable cell with the reuse identifier, which is sticker cell, and we'll pass in the index path. And then we need to cast it as the sticker collection view cell. Now we need to get the current emoji, which will be, and we'll just pass in the index path.item, and then we'll assign it to the cell's text, which would be the emoji label.text equals the emoji character, and then return the cell as always. This should be enough to get us to at least see the grid of emoji. Let's see if that's true. All right, we have our emoji, we have our close button, which is hidden, but when we blur the background, the story will come through the background, so the close button will work. Let's at least make sure the close button works though. Open the storyboard again. This time we need the sticker picker view controller open. So right click on this button and grab a touch up inside, drag it in, and name this method close. And for this, all we will do is self.dismiss, true, nil. Dismiss is a method any view controller has to dismiss any presented view controller or modal view controller. And since sticker picker view controller is a modal, calling dismiss will close that modal. Okay, good. So we're opening the sticker picker and closing it. Now let's make it look better. So we know we need the background to be blurred. So let's tackle that. Blur the background. Okay, so let's add a method in here called blur back or setup background. And we'll make another private function that does that. First thing we need to do is make sure both this view's background color is clear and the collection view's background color is clear. Then we need a blurred background view, which is a UI visual effect view, and we'll set the frame to the same as the views frame, and we'll set the effect to blur effect to light blur, and then we will insert that subview below the collection view cell. Pardon me, below the collection view. All right. Okay, one thing that happened there, it looked good until the animation finished, and then it sort of popped the background to opaque. So what we need to do is when we present this back in the view controller, we need to say vc.modal presentation style equals .over current context. Let's try this again. All right, there we go. So it works. Now, we want to turn off this bouncing effect. When you can drag a table view or a collection view or any scroll view like this and it bounces, that's called bouncing. Turn off bouncing for the collection view controller. Get rid of the bouncing. Now, when we select an emoji, we want that to dismiss this modal and add the emoji to the screen. Now, to communicate with this view controller from this one, this is a topic that comes up all the time in Cocoa programming or iOS programming, where you think like, oh, I can just store a reference to this view controller on this view controller, and you could, but you should never do that. What you want to do is provide an interface for one view controller to talk to another. And the way we define that interface is in the sticker picker view controller. And we do that with something called a protocol. So we say, okay, sticker picker has a delegate, which is something it delegates to. So in this case, it's gonna delegate doing something with the sticker that is select. That's why we call it a sticker picker delegate. We'll have a function called didPick that passes a sticker as a string. Now that means this class also needs to store a reference to the delegate, which will be of type sticker picker delegate. So what we've done here is we've said, okay, this class has a delegate. It has some other thing that it talks to. And when it talks to it, it's going to use this function didPick. So when we create an instance of this class in this class, we need to then assign the delegate. So what we'll do here is we'll just say vc.delegate equals self. However, we then need to declare this class as conforming to that delegate, like this. And when we do that, Xcode is going to complain here in 2 seconds, there we go, saying it doesn't conform. Do you want us to add protocol stubs? Sure. But you don't really want them here. That's not a great place for it. So delete that and bring it down here, and we'll put that there. Now, when that is called, we know we wanted to dismiss the view, and we're going to call this from the sticker picker view controller when a cell is selected here in this method, did select item at index path. So here we'll get that emoji, let emoji equal self.emoji index path.item. And then we say self.delegate, question mark, did pick emoji. That's all there is to that. But back in view controller, we need to do something with that sticker. So we need a new function here. Let's call it private func add sticker, or let's just call it add sticker, which is a sticker. Oh wait, this needs a string because we don't have a sticker for it yet. This is a string, so we're passing a string here. So this needs to be a string. We'll create a sticker in here. First, we need a frame, and we need a default height and width for our stickers. Now we'll create our sticker, and we need a font, sticker.font. And we'll set the text to the sticker, add it to the view so that we can actually use it and see it. Then we need to add some constraints. Anytime you add constraints programmatically, you always want to set translates auto resizing mask into constraints to false. We're going to add a center X anchor. We're trying to, basically what we're doing here is we're going to just put the sticker on the center of the screen. And we will set that equal to, put the center X, the horizontal center of this sticker right on top of the horizontal center of the main view. And do the same thing this time for the Y. And then we'll add it to our array so we can make sure we're keeping track of all the stickers. If we forget to do that, then all of our gestures for panning, rotating, and scaling aren't going to find the stickers. Of course, we can't name this the same as that. So let's just call this sticker text. There we go. Okay, now I think we should actually have the emoji added to the screen now. Voila, and look at that. All the functionality that we built in the last 2 episodes already works. We can keep adding them, and the code is keeping track of everything we're doing just fine. Only thing we need to add now is a pan gesture recognizer to open that view and close it. Because if you notice in Instagram stories, you don't have to hit this button. You can just drag anywhere on the screen. If you're dragging up, it opens the sticker picker. So we already have a pan gesture recognizer on this view controller. So all we need to do is tweak that code just a bit. And that code is right here, did pan on story. We're gonna add a variable here called, by default, that will be false. And in here, when a pan begins, if we don't find a sticker, meaning if they're not panning on a sticker, then we'll set this waiting to expose to true. Then in the changed state, if we don't have a sticker again, then we'll check to see if we're waiting to expose the sticker panel. We need to check 2 things. One, that the translation in Y value is greater than the translation in X. That means the user panned up and not panned right or panned left. And we need to make sure they've traveled at least a certain distance. Let's just say 100 pixels. Okay, so if translation.y greater than translation.x, we actually want the absolute value of these. And this is how you get the absolute value for float values. And translation.y, remember, if we're going from, if the finger is swiping up, then the translation will be a negative value. Therefore, we want to compare it to 0.0 minus the minimum offset for swiping up. If that criteria is met, then we need to move the translation here outside that block so we can access it inside the else. And we will open the sticker picker, passing self, and we'll reset this waiting to expose. And just for good measure, we'll reset that down here on the ended state as well, although it's probably not necessary. All right, so we swipe up anywhere on the screen, just like Instagram, and it opens. Now let's try swiping left, and swiping right, and swiping down, and swiping just a little, and gotta get to at least there. Seems reasonable. Now we want to be able to do the same by swiping down on this screen. So back in the storyboard, drag a pan gesture recognizer, and you're going to need to drag it onto the collection view. So don't just drop it here, drop it on the collection view. And then open the sticker picker in the assistant editor, and then wire the pan gesture recognizer up to that. Did pan. And we also need to set the delegate on here to this. And this should look familiar because it's very similar to what we've done in the other view controller. Great. So that works. So swipe up to reveal, swipe down to close. However, there's one problem here. Watch what happens if I swipe. Oh, I can't scroll this view anymore because the pan has overtaken it. Go in the sticker picker view controller, make it conform to that delegate. And then down here, okay, so now the gesture recognizers are working with each other, so we can actually interact with the collection view. But look, anytime I scroll down, doesn't matter where I am, it closes the view. We don't want that. So we need to check the content offset of the collection view, see how far down it scrolled, and if it's any greater than 0.0, then we do nothing. Here. And we will do self.collectionView.contentOffset.y equals 0.0. Swipe up, reveal, scroll down, swipe up, and it scrolls up until we get to the top, and then this misses. Okay, I feel good about that. We learned a lot of skills there. I mean, we learned blur effect, we learned modal presentation views, we learned blur effect, I said blur, UI collection views, protocols and delegate. Next week, let's add the ability to type your own message on the story. We already have the rotation, translation, and scaling, so if we shoehorn a UI label in there, the same translations and everything should still work. Oh, I'm going to Korea next Wednesday. I hope I can get an episode out before I go. I will be there for 10 days, so it's possible you may not see me for a couple weeks. In which case, go watch the old episodes. We have 15 to 20 episodes by now. Make sure you get caught up, and then when I return, we'll add those text labels. Eventually, we're going to have learned a lot of skills here. If you can build all the functionality that there is in Instagram stories, you can absolutely get a job as an iOS developer. Basil, come here. If you like this episode, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, hit the notification bell if you never want to miss a future episode. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.